morning, first years. Hope you are fine. All are you fine? Okay, today is in the microbiology, the virus itself. That is, we are going to start the hepatitis. So, as you know, this hepatitis is very common, and you heard the name also. So, it is also one of the virus which will be causing the hepatitis. That is, hepatitis means inflammation of the liver. Okay. Let us will see. So hepatitis is a broad term that means inflammation of the liver. Itis means inflammation of the liver. It is most commonly caused by viruses, but also be caused by drugs, that is alcohol, chemicals, autoimmune diseases, and metabolic abnormalities. See, it is mostly commonly caused by viruses, that is the hepatitis virus, but also be caused by drugs. Drugs means mostly the alcohol, that is the chemicals, autoimmune diseases, some of the related to immune diseases and metabolic abnormalities. So here we will see this five types of hepatitis have been identified. So in the hepatitis infection, we have these viruses have been. We can have the five most commonly five types of viruses we are observing, and some researchers are undergoing that even hepatitis FG also is there, but not yet come into existence. But up to now, A, B, C, D, E, five types of hepatitis have been identified. Hepatitis A is always an acute short-term disease. Okay, while hepatitis B, C, and D are most likely to become the ongoing and chronic. Okay, but hepatitis C is usually acute, but can be particularly dangerous in pregnant women. But in under common, it won't have give any. That is a more complication. But in the pregnant women, this is a very dangerous. The hepatitis A and D viruses typically cause only acute or short-term infections. Okay, A and D are very short-term infections, acute or short-term. So it will very short-term. But whereas B, C, and D are most likely to become the ongoing and chronic. It will be when the person is having infected with B, it will be present as a lifelong and also the chronic. Okay, let us will say one by one, but here in this all these things B is very common, that is it is a ongoing and very long term, and C is okay, not that much of common as B, but it is very dangerous. So let us will see the hepatitis A. So a highly contagious liver infection caused by the hepatitis A virus. Contagious means that is contaminated with the bacteria or contaminated with any other disease. Hepatitis A virus is a ribonucleic acid RNA virus of the enterovirus family. It can cause acute hepatitis with jaundice. It also cause the acute liver failure, but it doesn't cause the long-term infection. Okay, and incubation period is 3 to 5 weeks with an average of 28 days. Incubation period means I told. So it is a period in which the organism enter into our body from the till the appearance of signs and symptoms. That period is called the incubation period. It is differ from different organisms or different microorganisms. Okay. So it is transmitted primarily through the fecal-oral route. A is transmitted through the fecal-oral route, that is from the feces, that is fecal route, that is from the anal and all these things, and also the oral route. Through the mouth also it is going to transmit it. Source of infection is crowded conditions, poor personal hygiene, poor sanitation, contaminated water, food, shellfish. Shellfish means it is one type of fish in which it is having that infection, and person with some clinical infections, infected food handlers. So that's why that is this hepatitis is very common, because as so many people are taking the outside food, so that outside food handlers, that is those who are serving the food, they are not that is they are not very clean, so they are infected. So from that also we can able to get the through water also we can able to get this hepatitis. That's why we should be very careful. More prevalent in underdeveloped countries, and people who travel to developing countries more likely to get the hepatitis A. Okay, poor hygiene, all these no? That's why it is more prevalent in the underdeveloped countries. Next, we'll see the signs and symptoms. So, when having the hepatitis A infection, so what are the signs and symptoms? Fatigue, fever, abdominal pain, nausea, jaundice. Jaundice means yellow discoloration of the that is the conjunctiva, also the skin, weight loss, itching. So whenever there is a because of the this bilirubin will be excreted or bilirubin will be present under the skin, so it is causing the itching. Sharp pain in right upper quadrant of the abdomen. So here also we can see the sharp pain in right upper quadrant of the abdomen, that is at the site of the liver, anorexia, so loss of appetite. So these are all some of the signs and symptoms of the hepatitis A. And diagnostic evaluation. DYE means diagnostic evaluation. How we are going to diagnose? Blood tests are there. Two kinds of antibodies to the virus. So IgM antibodies and IgG antibodies. So two types of detection of antibodies to the virus. So what is how it is this IgM antibodies, and when the virus enter into our body, so it is a foreign body. So immediately what our body will do, immediately it will going to that is fight. It will be going to fight with the antigen, that is the outside. So these antibodies will be going to produce to fight the antigen. So that's why antigen antibody reaction will be going to occur inside our body when any other foreign material are entered into our body. So whenever there is a antibodies have been produced or have been formed in our body, that there is a infection is present in our body, like that we can able to know. IgM antibodies show acute infection and IgG antibodies show previous infection of immunization. So already if the person is having immunized, but previous infection of the before immunization, we can able to get the IgG antibodies will be going to produce. Management. How we are going to manage the hepatitis A infection? There are no drug therapies for the treatment of acute hepatitis A. Rest according to the patient level of fatigue. Hospitalization if it is any signs and symptoms are severe, and small frequent feedings of a high calorie, low fat diet. Proteins are restricted. So because anorexia, nausea, vomitings, all these things will be present. So we have to advise them to take the small frequent feedings of the high calorie and low fat diet. And proteins also is are restricted. Vitamin K injection if the patient is, that is the if the infection is prolonged. So that is the prothrombin time is prolonged. So if it is any bleeding tendencies are there, so then the person has to give the vitamin K. IV fluids and electrolyte replacement because of the nausea, vomitings are unable to take the food. Antibiotic drugs also to control the vomitings. It is a symptomatic treatment. There is no particular drug is there. According to the symptoms, we have to give. Next, we'll see the hepatitis B. It is very common and more prevalent, and we are seeing for every 10 people, I think so one people will be going to affect nowadays. Okay, also known as serum hepatitis. Sometimes they will be asking serum hepatitis means nothing but hepatitis B only. Longer incubation period, that is 30 to 180 days. Okay, so severe form of illness that include acute hepatitis B, chronic hepatitis, and it progression to cirrhosis, and fulminant hepatitis, and an asymptomatic carrier state. Okay, so here hepatitis B will be present in different manners. One is acute hepatitis B. Immediately we can observe the signs and symptoms. And the some is chronic hepatitis. It is not severe, but it will be very chronically, it will be continuously present in us. And some it will be progressing to cirrhosis. That is the this liver will be going to damage, cirrhosis. That is the fibrous tissue of the liver will be going to damage. So it will lead to the cirrhosis. And fulminating hepatitis. So it leads to the inflammation of the liver. And some people will be an asymptomatic carrier state. They won't have any signs and symptoms, but they are carrying the organism, or they are carrying the infection inside. Okay, next, development of hepatocellular carcinoma. So this is also, so sometimes in some people it will lead to the hepatocellular carcinoma, cancer. Okay, liver cells cancer. And it is a DNA virus. Three forms of viral particles of two sizes. So we can observe the three forms of viral particles with two sizes. One is small, most numerous and exist in two forms, that is spheres and tubules or filaments. So it is present as a spheres, round or tubules or filaments. So it forms an envelope. So one envelope will be there around the protein of hepatitis B virus. So around that we can see some of the protective layer like that envelope which is made up of protein. And one is large double-shelled spherical particles, also called as Dane particles. Okay, it represents intact virion of hepatitis B virus. We can observe that small and large viruses. Hepatitis B virus DNA consists of four overlapping genes which codes for various proteins. So here again we can observe the four overlapping genes which codes for various proteins depending upon the presence of protein. So they are having the four types. One is S gene, hepatitis B surface antigen, that is we are calling it as a HBsAg. Okay, we are commonly it is more common. And P gene DNA polymerase, C gene nucleocapsid proteins, that is hepatitis EAG, and a core protein term HBcAg, and X gene HBxAg, which is a small non-particulate protein. So presence of depending upon the presence of different types of protein, it has been the genes are will be different. S gene, P gene, C gene, and X gene. So this is the structure of hepatitis B. In your books also it has given very that is more probably that is your this also will be there. So you can observe in your books the diagram of the hepatitis, so that it is clear for you. It is clear for you to have the diagram and you practice the diagram also, because most of the time they are asking about the draw the diagram of the hepatitis B virus also. They are giving for 5 marks also. So please be go through this hepatitis B. This also, that is the water diagram is also very important. Don't forget. Next, transmission. Parenterally, such as in recipients of blood and blood products. So parenterally, that is through parental route, that is through the such as recipients of blood and blood products, that is from the infected person's blood and blood products it will be transmitted. And intravenous drug addicts, that is sharing of needles and syringes from one person to other like that. And patient treated by renal dialysis. So in that also, because the machines will be using the same, sometimes from one person to other person through dialysis also we can able to see the transmission. Hospital workers exposed to blood. So when the hepatitis person's blood or any secretions is there, while these hospital workers are cleaning or that is disposing, that time also they may chance of getting the infection by intimate physical contact, that is mother to child, and by sexual contact. Okay, so through this also it is going to transmit. Next we'll see the pathogenesis of the hepatitis B virus. So after exposure to the virus, so after the person that is exposure to the virus, it will infect the hepatocytes, that is the liver cells. Hepatocytes means liver cells. Asymptomatic incubation period. So the incubation period is nearly 30 to 180 days. So in that we won't have any signs and symptoms, which may be followed by acute disease lasting many weeks to months. So after the incubation period have been completed, then they will show the signs or it may cause the disease. It will be lasting for many weeks to months. The natural course of acute disease can be followed by serum markers. So serum markers, the natural course of the disease can be followed by serum markers. So here one they have given relative amount of product detectable and clinical illness, and also the time after exposure. That is of time after months, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, like that. Okay, every month we are going to see the some changes will be occur in the person who are infected the hepatitis. So in the first month we can see the blue line, that is the in the second and third we can see the clinical illnesses, and we can see the some graphs also is there, that is the lines. Blue line, that is HbSAg, okay, HbEg. Red is the anti HbS, okay, like that. Dots is the IgM anti HbS. That is like that. So much of changes which will be occurred in the person for day after day. That is the first month some changes, second, third, like that. Okay, you can observe serum markers. So serum markers, that is HbSAg, appears before the onset of symptoms, peak during overt disease, and then declines to undetectable levels in 3 to 6 months. So first it will be very peak, okay, during first starting of the disease, and then declines to undetectable levels. Sometimes we can be able to detect also. So in 3 to 6 months it will be going to. Next, anti-HbS. Acute disease is over, may persist for life, conferring protection. So sometimes anti-HbS will be continuously, it will be present throughout the life also. And HBeAg, HBV DNA and DNA polymerase appear in serum soon after HbSAg, and all signify active viral replication. Here in this stage we can observe the signify active viral replication, that is it is reproducing. Persistence of HBeAg is an important indicator of continued viral replication. If we can detect HBeAg antibody in our body, that indicates the continued viral replication, infectivity, and probable progression to chronic hepatitis. That is, depending upon the detection of different antibodies, we can observe what is happening inside the person who are infected. Okay. Next, signs and symptoms. Loss of appetite, as already we told in the hepatitis A, dyspepsia, abdominal pain, gentle aching malaise, and weakness. Okay. So, and also the jaundice, light colored stools and dark urine, and hepatomegaly and splenomegaly, enlargement of the liver and spleen, enlarged posterior cervical lymph nodes also. So, in the next slide, we can observe some of the lymph node enlargement also. We can observe. Dyspepsia means, that is, we can observe the uh, abdominal pain is very common in all this. Jaundice also we can observe. Okay. Next, investigations here. So serology, that is the, because mainly this is the serum, we have to test the serum for the hepatitis or HIV, all these infections. So serum, we have to take the serum. So serology, antigens and their antibodies are important in identifying HBV infection. Okay, and also viral load. HBV DNA can be measured by polymerase chain reaction PCR in the blood. So nowadays we are observing this corona also PCR polymerase chain reaction. So here also in this virus also we have to, by polymerase chain reaction we can able to observe the viral load, how much of virus is present inside our body. So here also this table have been there, anti-HBC interpretation, incubation period. Okay, in the incubation, what are there in acute hepatitis, and in post-infection, in chronic infection, like that we can observe the some changes. And the management. So acute hepatitis B, how to manage? Supportive with monitoring for acute liver failure. No definitive evidence that antiviral therapy reduces the severity of duration of acute hepatitis B, but fully recovery occurs in 90 to 95% of adults following the acute hepatitis B infection. So the recovery is high, so that's why that is, but in some chances only 5% we will see the, it may lead to the acute liver failure. The remaining 5 to 10% develop a chronic infection which will impact on the liver. Next, chronic hepatitis B. Treatment are still limited as no drug is able to eradicate the hepatitis B infection completely. But only some drugs which will be reduces the viral load and zero conversion of the antigens. So that drugs are interferon alpha, so low viral load, lamivudine improves the liver function, adifovir contraindicated in renal failure, but it will be used only in the persons who are not having the renal failure. These are the antiviral drugs. and interferon alpha. It will reduce the viral load. Lamivudine improves the liver function and adipavir contraindicated in the renal failure. So now that is we can observe for the corona also some of the antiviral drugs are commencing. Okay, to go through that is in the newspapers and in the news now that is today and day before, like that they are telling that some drugs are available, but it is not yet come to the market, but maybe it will come soon. Next, we can see the prevention management, that is the prevention. So here, because there is no cure, permanent cure is there, so better to have the prevention. Vaccination, highly effective recombinant vaccine. So vaccines are very prevalent in for the hepatitis. It is included in the immunization schedule also. That is from the birth, from the starting of the immunization, it have been included. So hepatitis B immunoglobulins exposed within 48 hours of the incident are neonates whose mothers are HbAg and HbAg positive. So we are giving the hepatitis B immunoglobulins for those who are exposed within 48 hours we have to give. So then only it will be useful. And also for the children, that is for the newborns whose mother have been HbAg positive, for that also we are giving them. Other measures, screening of blood donors, blood and body fluid precautions. That's very important. While they are taking the blood from the others or any blood products and body fluids, that should be very screened is very important. And additional measures, wash your hands thoroughly of any potential exposure. It is a one and very important measure for all the diseases or for all the communicable diseases. Washing hands is very important, and practice safe sex with all the partners. That is also should be very careful. Avoid direct contact with blood and bodily fluids. That is very important. We have to wear the gloves or any protective equipment. Clean up blood spills with a fresh diluted bleach solution. If any blood have been spilled in the floor of who's infected hepatitis, then immediately we have to that ask them to clean with the, we have to first pour the bleach solution, then that virus will be going to inactive or death, then we have to clean. Cover all cuts carefully, that is very important. So first we have to check our skin should not have any cuts. Avoid sharing sharp items such as razors, nail clippers, toothbrushes and earrings or body rings, so that should not be shared with the others. Discard sanitary napkins and tampons into plastic bags. Avoid illegal street drugs, that is injecting, inhaling or popping pills, that is the drug addicts. Do not donate blood or body organs if you are having any doubt. Make sure new sterile needles are used for ear or body piercing, tattoos and acupuncture. That is also, that is when we are ear piercing. So and also tattoos, nowadays these tattoos are very fashion. So that the sterile needle should be used, otherwise there is a chance of getting the infection from one person to other person. So these are all the about regarding the hepatitis B infection. So it is very important. Sometimes they are asking for the 15 marks in the in your final examination regarding the hepatitis. There is pathogenesis, modes of transmission, and laboratory diagnosis. Also, they are going to ask, and go through your textbook and try to prepare the notes, and you read whenever it is completed. And so in the next class, I will continue the hepatitis C, D and E infections. So hope you understood and go through the topic immediately, that is through along with the books, and prepare the notes. Then it is helpful for you. Okay, thank you.